I have allowed Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भागवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नाम संकीर्तनं जस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामदुःखशमनं तं नमामि श्रीहरिपरम्। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today's topic will be procreation as a service to God. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.24.35. इति तस्यां स आधाय, इति तस्यां स आधाय गर्भं सूर्यो दिवं गतः। गर्भं सूर्यो दिवं गतः। सद्यः कुमारः संजागे। सद्यः कुमारः संजागे। द्वितीय इव भास्करः। द्वितीय इव भास्करः। Synonyms. Iti in this way, Tasyam unto her, Buddha. Sa, he, the sun god. Adhaya, discharging. Discharging semen. Garbham, pregnancy. Surjaha, the sun god. Divam, in the celestial planet. Gataha, returned. Sadyaha, immediately. Kumaraha, a child. Sanjagya, was born. Dityaha, second. Eva, like. Bhaskaraha, the sun god. Translation. After saying this, the sun god discharged his semen into the womb of Purtha and then returned to the celestial kingdom. Immediately thereafter, from Kunti, a child was born who was like a second sun god. 9.24.36. Tam satyajan naditoye. Tam satyajan naditoye. कृच्छ्रैलोकस्य बिभ्यति। कृच्छ्रलोकस्य बिभ्यति। प्रपितामहस्ताम् उवाह। प्रपितामहस्ताम् उवाह। पाण्डुर्वै सत्यविक्रमः। पाण्डुर्वै सत्यविक्रमः। तं सात्यजन्नदित्ये कृच्छ्रालोकस्य बिभ्यति। कृच्छ्रालोकस्य बिभ्यति। प्रपितामहस्ताम् उवाह। प्रपितामहस्ताम् उवाह। पाण्डुर्वै सत्यविक्रमः। Tam, that child. Sa, she. Kunti, Atyajat, gave up. Nadito, in the water of river. Kruchrat, with great repentance. Lokasya, of the people in general. Bibhyati, hearing. Prapritamaha, your great grandfather. Tam, her. Kunti. Ubhaha, married. Pandu, the king. known as Pandu, by indeed Satya Vikramaha, very pious and chivalrous. Translation: because Kunti feared people's criticism, with great difficulty she had to give up her affection for her child. Unwillingly, she packed the child in a basket and let it float down the waters of the river. O Maharaja Parikshit, your great grandfather, the pious and chivalrous King Pandu, later married Kunti. One minute. Hare Krishna. So the divine purpose behind creation, you need to understand there is always a divine purpose behind every activities. So whether we have some desire or we act according to the will of providence, there are two ways. One is one who understands the divine will, other who is forcefully acting under the divine will. मम वर्तमानु अनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्यः पार्थ सर्वशः. There is no living entity who can go beyond the sanction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord has two kind of activities. One is activities under his divine nature. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti asrita. The great devotees, they always act under the influence of the internal energy, Yogamaya Shakti of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Daivi Prakriti. And others, those Moghasa, Mogho Karmano, Mogho Jnana, Vichitya Saha, Rakshasim, Asurim Chaiva, Prakrutim, Mohini Asrita. Bhagavad Gita explains both of these things, that either one works under the divine will by taking shelter of the internal energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, or he acts under the influence of external energy. So there is no one ever who can say that he is beyond the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Either you control yourself as per the service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, being realizing your sambandha, practicing abhidaya, and getting the transcendental realm of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, called as Prema Bhakti Prayojana. You know the meaning and purpose of human form of life. The purpose of creation is understood. So such devotee works under the will of Supreme Personality of Godhead and participate in the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead under Yogamaya Sakti. Others, those who think that they want to lord over material nature, they want to enjoy by owning this material world as much possible, land, flats, people, women, children. So this kind of false ownership mentality is there. Like Supreme Personality of Godhead is Ishvara of everything. So this human being or jiva try to become Ishvara of as much possible, at least something, at least minimum a flat and wife, children, some sense of ownership is the cause of all troubles in him. So that he is not following the instructions or the real path, the path of divine is not being followed. But avidhi purvakam, without following the religious path, the path of pious or path of purpose of human form of life, he is still serving the external energy. When this external world or the material world is created, the purpose is that everything is created for the service of Vishnu, so that gradually those material motivated people will get a chance to serve Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, and have all the scope to realize Him when they gradually free from the affinities of metal world and realize that this is a troublesome world, Dukhalaya Saswata, and this is not my real place. Let me go back to my original divine nature. So they act under the protections of Yogamaya Sakti. So anyway, so here tasya कृतिमयस्य देवस्य सहस्र रश्मिषु प्रविष्टस्य शरीरम तद विनिर्गतम शुक्रम तद ब्रह्मतः शांतये. The sun god with his thousands of rays entered Kunti's body and his semen discharged taking the form of a child from Mahabharata. Tad vinirgatam shukram Krishna Krishna varnasya Krishna Krishna sarirasya Krishna Krishna sarirasya. The semen discharged by the sun god entered Kunti's ear and Karna was born with a golden armor and earrings. So here, this is the divine will and divine intervention. As Kunti Maharani got the benedictions from DurvasaMuni that she can invite any demigod to get a nice children. So getting a nice children who can protect religion, who can do meritorious work and who can deliver many people is the most important service. Even delivering one person from this nescience and allowing him to cultivate the science of self-realization, go back Godhead, make our life successful. So through Kunti Maharani and the boon of DurvasaMuni, they were not only delivering one or two people who are in their family member, but also the whole society who were completely dedicated for the service of mankind and religion. So this is completely under the divine will of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The greatest service happens through such greatest devotees. So people in general who listens to the stories, they go by the events and do not see the hands behind the events. How through Kunti Maharani the whole world will be delivered. The most pious king who can be second after Lord Ramachandra can establish the kingdom of Ramarajya named as Dharmaraj will come. Here Karna, and then Arjuna, Bhima, Sahadeva, Nakula, all these great personalities, they have come because of the divine will that Kunti Maharani was accepted to procreate. So here Kunti Maharani was same time in fear that what the society will say. So she prayed to test the boon. I was just meditating, I was not aware that, as Sangad said, the vision of demigods cannot be go in vain. For what purpose demigod is called must be fulfilled. So the purpose was to get a child as per the boon of DurvasaMuni. So that must happen. Same time, the protections of virginity and societal norms also cannot be broken. So the mystic power of Suryadev was that he can discharge semen through the ear, which entered to the womb of Kunti Maharani. And not only that, the begetting of the child also happened through ear. So that is the divine intervention. So people who comment on the behavior of Kunti Maharani, Draupadi Mata, or any other such sati, and claim that they have not followed the religion are really not understanding the subjects. So they are all transcendental devotees who are fully aligned to the will of God and ready to act as per the will of the God. They also sacrificed their entire life and sense enjoyment. They have never worried for sense gratifications. So the Kama Sankalpa behind these subjects was never seen here. So this is the problem. When Jasya Sarva Samarambha Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha, the common people are very much interested to enjoy the activities of sense enjoyment through procreation. They have lots of planning before starting any work or anything they do. They make a big plan how they can enjoy it. But here, Kunti Maharani, before going to do this work for the society, had no desire of sense enjoyment, no desire of sense gratification at all. So that is the principle. Dharma aviruddha bhutesu kama asmi. Those activities of conjugal relationship or procreation activities which is not contrary to religious principle is representing Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kama raga vivarjitam. That activities for procreation which is completely devoid of passion and desire, but as a service to Supreme Personality of Godhead, is no lesser than the direct devotional service. Prajanas chasmi kandapa. Of all causes of procreation, Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is informing that he is Kandarpa. Brahmaji is called Prajapati. So Brahmaji become very happy when such intention of creating devotees for the protections of religiosity and to deliver all the people from nations is the biggest cause of service, where the topmost acharya in our principle is called Lord Brahmadev, is very pleased, and Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is also pleased, who informed that he is directly that Kandarpa who is engaged in the activities of procreating a nice devotee child. Sridhara Marana Priya Sangame. Further, it is also explained that when one is associating for such conjugal relationship, should never forget Krishna during those engagement or movement. Naturally, this is the tendency. When you have sense desire, you cannot remember Krishna at that time. If there is sense desire and if there is impious desire, the guilty feeling, then Krishna will never come in the remembrance. But if it is completely divine will, devoid of sense enjoyment, but for the pleasure of Krishna, then Krishna will be fully remembered during the entire course of actions for procreations. So that is representing, how one should procreate for begetting a nice children, which represent Krishna. But any such sense enjoyment can never represent Krishna. So the divine position of sun god can see dharma aviruddha bhutesu kamo asmi. He was obeying all religious values. Kama raga vivarjita. He was completely devoid of any passion and desire to associate with Kunti Maharani for sense enjoyment. And he was having the will empowered by the boon of DurvasaMuni. Sun God was completely taking the charge to procreate a person as good as him. Ditya Bhaskara in 36 sloka, what we read. So it was his will to produce a children who will be like Ditya Bhaskara. And he had no desire of sense gratification at all. And he was completely in remembrance of that he is doing this divine purpose of creations as per the influence of the boon of Durvasa Muni. So such procreation is viewed as the sacred duty in Vedic traditions, and there is nothing that one can should blame this process. This process is completely divine, not like the ordinary intercourse between boys and girl for sense enjoyment. All this aspect one should very clearly understand and realize, then only he can get motivated by such divine process of procreations through which healthy Krishna conscious children can come. Whatever thought of Kunti Maharani and Suryadev is there, that will come to the children's, and see the children's of Kunti Maharani who are always abide by dharma. Karna was fully abided by dharma. He was readily given up his own life, but never given up dharma. So if Suryadev was in the mentality of sense enjoyment, not in the mood of keeping dharma as the topmost priority, then Karna would be irreligious. So that is the principles. So before procreation, one must be very careful to understand that he's, both of them are willing to invite the most pious soul who will be engaged in the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead and deliver the mankind from the nescience. So that is the things we need to learn from the engagement of Kunti Maharani and Sun God. This explores that always divine will works and protect the devotees. Sometimes devotees has to accept lots of troubles from the society and need to work under the influence of society. Yet the principles of religion must be maintained and the will of God has to be performed. Kunti Maharani had to sacrifice her affection for the child and she had to flow the boy in a basket in the river of Ganges. All these principles very clearly explains that the devotees are always working for the divine purpose. They never get influenced of the external energy and they never do anything other than the purpose of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what we need to learn from Mahabharata, that there is significance of taking the qualities of topmost demigods who can do greater benefit to the society. Kunti Maharani invoked all the powerful demigods and their qualities being reflected in those children who could deliver the mankind from the troublesome life towards the Krishna conscious life. Hare Krishna. Any question? Hare Krishna.